Chelsea. My name is Starr with What's at Stake. Now, by now, everybody knows what's happening on your campus. If you don't know, you live under a rock, right? So I guess we can start by saying, or I should ask you, what's it like being a black student at the University of Oklahoma right now?
Well, right now it's much different than it was when I first got here. Tensions are high, emotions are running. A lot of people are in support of what we are doing, and they want to join our movement. They want to support us. However, there is that community who is completely against what we are doing. Is backing us right now. It's very discouraging, but we are still trying to move forward. It's definitely hard being a black student because when you are that one black student in a room of 300 white people, they automatically assume for you to advocate for the entire black community. So we are getting looks, we're getting questions, but it's all a part of it. It's all a part of this movement, but there's nothing I'd rather be doing.
That sounds pretty intense. What have you been combating in regards to people that aren't into what you guys are doing or don't support the movement?
Right. It's just a lot of negative dialogue that we're doing this to the shame and fortune in the video cameras, and that we are portraying OU to be a negative, just this negative light in this campus that nobody should go through this a racist campus. When in actuality, the Unheard movement has been moving since January. We have sent a letter to the university itself since January, so this isn't anything new just because video surfaced. Obviously, we love our university. We want to enact this change on our campus. We want to see the university strive to the very best of its ability. So it's more than SAE. It is so much bigger than that. This is not only a problem at the University of Oklahoma, this is a nationwide problem. The systemic change that needs to happen within our nation.
You said something very interesting. You said it's bigger than SAE. Now, can you tell us what was the purpose? Like, what was the goal of releasing this video? What did you guys want to get out of it?
Well, one, it was awareness. It's awareness of this is what people are thinking. This is the culture that this is the mindset and the culture that people are still participating in. Even 50 years after Selma, people are still thinking these ideals and using this language. So it wasn't to get any specific organization in trouble. It's to simply say, people still think like this, people view us this way. There's something needs to happen. Now, the repercussions that came with it, that's on them. But it was not to get anybody expelled, nothing like that. We really just wanted to say, hey, this isn't okay, this offended me, and I need this to change.
I see, and I've heard that you've been quoted by saying that you believe that expulsion is the just response for what has happened. I'm wondering, do you think that actually teaches the people at hand that we're chanting these things? Or is this a learning experience, do you believe?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it definitely teaches them that everything that you do has a consequence, no matter if it's behind the light or in the light. Everything that you do will come to light. I'm pretty sure they had no idea that this was going to happen. I'm pretty sure that their intentions were not to be blasted on national news. However, everything that you do has an equal and opposite reaction. So most definitely this is a learning experience for these gentlemen involved because their names are out there, their pictures are out there, everybody knows their face and what they did. So I can only imagine how it's going to be trying to get a job in corporate America when you have been labeled a racist. I hope that it teaches them that we should be past this, however we're not, and that you cannot treat those who do not look like you as if they are lesser than you.
And is this dividing the campus or is it bringing the campus together?
A little bit of both. Of course, you have those people who are reaching out and that support the movement, like I said, support the cause. But then you have that community who is like, well, we don't associate with them because they are doing this and X, Y, and Z.
Okay, touching back on to when we spoke about the student being expelled, does that action actually quiet the conversation and make it go to rest? Or does it spark more conversation?
I think it definitely should spark more just because now people are having conversations, well, why did they get it? So why is this not freedom of speech? Why isn't this, what are the legality issues when it comes to this notion? So it's definitely bringing about debate among the different communities as to was this okay, was this legal, what if this was freedom of speech? So it's definitely bringing about that conversation. It's also bringing about the conversation still of diversity and inclusion and how universities need to go about implementing changes so that this does not become a recurring event. Clearly, this isn't something something that's new, this is something that's learned. So I'm pretty sure this is happening within different organizations and on different campuses. So now the conversation is, well, what do we do to prevent this from happening? So I don't think this is any type of silencer. This is definitely going to spark the debate, spark the dialogue, and that's exactly what we want to happen.
Do you feel betrayed by any of your classmates or the people around campus?
No, most of the people that I have interaction with stand with us, stand firmly with us. Like I said, there's always those one or two who challenge you, but if you're not being questioned, then you must not be doing something right. So we clearly are moving in the right direction, and I firmly believe in that.
Now, does the president of your university support your organization?
Yes. When we initially met with him, he was excited to work with us. He was excited to meet with us and to talk about how we would implement these changes. So he definitely is, in support of the Unheard movement. And I'm pretty sure after this past weekend, he's even more in support of what we were doing and what we hope to accomplish.
And how are other student organizations helping you, or are they at all on campus?
Right. These multicultural organizations, they have reached out to us. Unheard, as of now, stands as a platform for other minorities to step on and say, hey, these are social injustices that are being done to us as well. We've had outreach from the Latino American community, the Native American community. Obviously, the Black Student Association is with us. The MPHC organization is with us. This is not an us versus them. This is a we. This is us together. This is us as minorities working together to better our campus.
So, like, even though this was a bad thing that happened, like, in the long term, is it actually good because it brought things to light and now people are understanding why there needs to be more inclusivity?
Right. Well, it's most definitely frustrating that this had to happen, to have this conversation. When we first started in January, we had a little attention, but nothing on this scale. So it's frustrating that the N-word had to be dropped by a white man for us to talk about racism and diversity and inclusion on this large scale. But most definitely, even though it was a bad incident, it is sparking about good change that is only going to better our education system here in America.
You mentioned a white man dropping the N-word, and a lot of people in the media have been talking about, in hip-hop and at a rap concert, that's what they do anyway, and it's okay to do it there. So what makes it different from a white man dropping the N-word at a Kanye concert versus a white man dropping the N-word on the bus with his frat brothers?
There is no difference. It shouldn't be acceptable in any atmosphere, in any community. But that is the society we live in, is where Black people think that it's okay in one setting, but then it's not okay in another. And that's just the society that we live in, that we face, that Black people can say this, but white people can't. And it's a double standard, and there's really no way to combat it at this point that we are in our lives. But, however, the way that they were using it was in a derogatory term, degrading the Black community. And in that essence, it's not okay, and it shouldn't be acceptable, and reprimands were given accordingly.
And do you feel as though do you feel as though that this will move the human race? This conversation, like, what will make this conversation keep going? How will Unheard be heard a month from now?
Right. Well, most definitely, the conversation needs to happen. As far as it continuing to happen, we need to, as a society, get out of the mindset that it's uncomfortable to talk about race, that we don't want to talk about it because it makes somebody uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable. It's life, and it's natural. When I walk into a room, you automatically know that I am a Black woman. So there should be no excuses for why we can't sit here and have an intellectual conversation about race. Not only with Unheard, I feel like this dialogue will continue to happen because clearly there is a flaw in our system, there is a flaw in our society, and where we are right now as a people, we are stuck. We're not degressing, but we're not progressing either. We're kind of stuck. Ever since Trayvon Martin, we have just been stuck in this bubble, and then Mike Brown in Ferguson, and then Eric Garner in New York. We have not progressed from that, and we need to get out, and we need to step out and stop talking, but actually start making changes. Because the changes come when you see physical change and not when we're just sitting in a room and being upset.
Now, piggybacking off of that and going back to the white man saying the N-word and it being used in different contexts and environments, do you think that the Black community should take some accountability for what's happening?
We should. There's always accountability. There should always be accountability on both ends. why did they think that this was okay to begin with, which goes back to how they were raised and how they were brought up in the society that they're from. But at the same time, where did they learn it from? What did they see that they thought that it was okay? So yes, the Black community, we all need to take accountability for what has happened, but that does not negate the issue and negate the behavior of these boys.
Well, let's wrap up on this note. What's next? What needs to happen moving forward?
Right. Well, like we've been saying with Unheard, is we don't expect change to happen overnight. It can't happen. A lot of our grievances, they require funding, they require hiring of positions. So it's going to take a while. It's going to maybe take years to get some of these changes implemented. But as long as we see a plan of action and we see action points that this is what I plan to do, this is when I plan to do it, that is sufficient. Keep having the conversation, keep speaking up against these social injustices, keep talking. We encourage every university, if you are a minority, not even if you're a minority, if you're a part of a marginalized community, whether that's LGBTQ or whether that's a Black student, we encourage you to speak up against what is hurting you, what is hindering you, because we all deserve to have the same success. We are all paying the same tuition, if not more, so we deserve the same resources and everything else that everybody around us gets.
So Chelsea, you mentioned that there were a list of grievances going on around your campus, and so I wanted you to maybe name one or two specific ones that actually have gone down.
I'll be more than happy to send you guys a copy of our letter so you can see it. But one of the grievances was the student experience, which is the experience of our students here at the university. One thing that we specifically highlighted in the student experience was homecoming. Homecoming has not been for many years a culturally appealing event, or week, I should say. A lot of the times, the university would highlight specific cultural traditions of the Black community, such as stepping and dancing and singing and things like that, and use us in the pep rally, but then not incorporate us in any other event. So we definitely are hitting home on that, and that's something that we are looking to change this upcoming fall. Another grievance that we touched on was Black faculty, the lack of Black faculty here on campus. And although President Bourne cannot specifically have a quota and say, I'm going to hire X amount of Black faculty, he is working to make a more diverse pool of applicants so that we potentially could have an increase of Black faculty.
And how do you feel moving forward, knowing those grievances and knowing that all eyes are on the University of Oklahoma? How do you feel about the future and how these things will roll out? What year are you in school? You are a sophomore. Do you see some of these changes happening by the time you graduate?
I would hope so, but if not, it's not about me. It's about everybody that comes underneath me. So
that's a nice way to look at it.
Yeah, it's for our community, most definitely. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, we were excited when we started, but now that the ball is really rolling and we have the nation's attention, we are not going to stop. And we can only hope that more studios and more broadcast such as yourself reach out to us, and we can really tell our story so that the nation can hear us loud and clear and hold the university to the highest standards that it possibly can.
Well, you know what? You touched on everything. We want to thank you for taking the time out to speak to us.
Thank you.
You spoke very honestly and thoughtfully about all your answers. And you guys keep on doing your thing out there. The whole nation's watching. We're counting on you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Nice talking to you, Chelsea.
All right, bye-bye.
Go to BET.com/what's at stake and get involved by using #what's at stake across all social media.